Today, we're going to dive into one of the darkest, most complicated scandals in recent American history. We're talking about the story of Jeffrey Epstein. And trust me, it's a story of unbelievable wealth, untouchable power, and a horrifying truth that was hidden in plain sight. So, our story starts in what looks like, honestly, a slice of heaven. Back in 1998, a financier named Jeffrey Epstein buys this 75-acre private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Picture it. Perfect beaches, a massive mansion, luxury villas, pools, even its own helipad. It was basically a playground for the global elite. But, beneath that shiny, luxurious surface, something truly awful was going on. The people who lived nearby, the locals, they had a different name for Little St. James. They called it Pedophile Island. It was supposedly here that girls as young as 12 were trafficked and abused, literally trapped by the ocean around them. And that contrast, right there, is the heart of the whole Epstein mystery.
So the big question is, how on earth did a predator's paradise like this operate right out in the open for so long? Let's break down how the operation actually worked.
Okay, the absolute key to understanding Epstein's power was his network. I mean, the man cultivated relationships with some of the most powerful people on the entire planet. His flight logs, his social circles, they were packed with names like former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, Britain's Prince Andrew, even famous scientists. These connections, well, they gave him this shiny veneer of legitimacy that acted like a shield for his criminal enterprise. For years, everything was kept under wraps. But then, in March 2005, a single complaint from a 14-year-old girl in Florida started to unravel everything. She told the police a friend took her to a rich guy's house for a massage, and she was molested. As soon as police started investigating, they found this chain of victims, one leading right to another. The case just blew up, spiraling into a massive federal investigation. And the system he used was just horrifically efficient. It was basically a pyramid scheme of abuse. As you can see here, a girl would be lured in and abused. Then she'd get paid to bring in a friend. And that new victim would then be pushed to recruit someone else. It created this disgusting, self-perpetuating cycle that trapped dozens and dozens of underage girls. So, you've got a huge FBI investigation and dozens of victims. You'd expect justice to be swift, right? Severe, even. But what happened next? Well, it might just be the most shocking part of this entire story. The difference here is just staggering. I mean, look, on one side, you have Epstein facing federal charges for international sex trafficking involving at least 36 minors, all backed up by a 53-page FBI report. And on the other side, a secret plea deal, cooked up by a federal attorney named Alexander Acosta that boiled all of that down to just 2 minor state charges. Oh, and it gave him immunity from all other federal prosecution.
And here's the thing. This deal wasn't just shockingly lenient, it was actually illegal. American law says victims have to be notified about plea bargains, but this one was sealed. The very girls whose lives were destroyed were completely shut out of the process. They were denied their basic legal right to even be heard. And the sentence for these incredibly serious, organized crimes against dozens of kids? A measly 18 months in a county jail. And calling it jail is being pretty generous. Epstein was put in a private wing. He got work release to go to his office for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. All he had to do was sleep in the cell. And then he was released 5 months early. It was a complete and total mockery of justice. For years, the story just went cold. Epstein went back to living in luxury. But one journalist, she refused to let it go. And her crusade, it would change everything. So in 2018, a Miami Herald journalist named Julie K. Brown published this absolute bombshell series called Perversion of Justice. She had spent years digging into this case, talking to victims, uncovering every last detail of that secret deal. Her reporting was just relentless and incredibly powerful. And the impact was immediate. Brown's work created this massive public outrage, and it basically forced the authorities to do something. The case was reopened in New York, and in July 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested again. This time, he was facing charges that could have put him away for 45 years. It finally seemed like the victims were going to get their day in court. But then, the story took its most infamous
And I mean most mysterious turn yet. Just a little over a month after his arrest, while he was waiting for his trial in a federal jail, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead. The official cause was suicide. But yeah, that explanation did not satisfy very many people. His death meant he would never ever face his accusers in a courtroom.
This simple phrase, Epstein didn't kill himself, it just became this huge viral slogan. It captured this widespread suspicion that Epstein had been silenced to protect all the powerful men whose secrets he was holding. And just like that, a criminal case turned into this massive, sprawling political conspiracy theory.
And the political stuff just made the conspiracy theories even deeper. For instance, according to the source material we're looking at, Donald Trump promised during his 2024 campaign that he would declassify all the Epstein files. But then, his administration apparently did a total 180, dismissing the whole thing. This kind of U-turn from such a prominent figure, well, it just threw gasoline on the fire of public suspicion.
But the public pressure kept building and building, and eventually, it forced the release of some of the secret documents. Not all of them, but some. So what did we actually learn? Well, the few thousand files that did get released were covered in black ink, but they still had some really troubling info about all sorts of powerful people. For example, some documents brought up Donald Trump's travel on Epstein's plane, and they contained these third-party allegations about his knowledge of what was going on. These little glimpses really just hinted at the kinds of secrets the full, unredacted files might be hiding.
But you really have to understand the scale here. What's been released is just a tiny, tiny fraction of the whole story. While we've seen a few thousand documents, it's estimated that over 1 million pages are still completely hidden from public view. Over 1 million. And even the stuff we can see is often totally obscured. Names, dates, whole sentences are just blacked out, making a lot of the documents almost impossible to really understand. The truth is still being actively hidden. And that leaves us with the final, really unsettling question, doesn't it? This scandal exposed a network of abuse that went all the way to the highest levels of power, but it's so clear we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. With so much information still locked away, the biggest question of all is still out there. What and who is still hiding in the shadows of the Epstein files?